Hello and welcome back. There are some explosive new allegations that former FBI Director James Comey decided not to bring criminal charges against Hillary Clinton over her private email server long before the investigation was complete. For the details, let's go to Ed Henry with the very latest. Ed.
Kennedy, maybe James Comey is becoming a little bit like Greg Gutfeld, all hat, no cattle. These new allegations by two Republican senators that months before finishing his investigation of a private email server, the FBI director decided in the spring of 2016 that Hillary Clinton should be exonerated before various witnesses were even interviewed, including Clinton and top aides like Huma Abedin. That sparks a key question. Is Comey now a credible witness for special counsel Robert Mueller and his probe of Russian meddling in the election and whether the president's firing of Comey was obstruction? The New York Times reporting tonight, Mueller has obtained a letter the president and a top aide, Stephen Miller, drafted to justify Comey's firing, but the top White House lawyer, Don McGahn, blocked it. That may help Mueller figure out the original intent of the firing. Remember, the White House instead issued a separate letter drafted by the Deputy Attorney General that talked about Comey mishandling the Clinton case. That leads us to new information unearthed by Republicans Chuck Grassley and Lindsey Graham, FBI officials suggesting that Comey was drafting an exoneration statement for Clinton in April or May of 2016, leading the senators to charge that Comey came to a conclusion before any fact gathering. The president tweeting today, "Wow. Looks like James Comey exonerated Hillary Clinton long before the investigation was over, and so much more, a rigged system." Now remember, Comey came out in July 2016 and said despite apparent wrongdoing, Clinton would not be charged. So look at this exchange under oath in September of 2016.
Director, did you make the decision not to recommend criminal charges relating to classified information before or after Hillary Clinton was interviewed by the FBI on July the 2nd?
After. But if colleagues of ours believe I am lying about when I made this decision, please urge them to contact me privately so we can have a conversation about this. All I can do is tell you again, the decision was made after that because I didn't know what was going to happen in that interview. She maybe lied during the interview in a way we could prove.
At a Senate hearing this year, Comey testified again under oath that he only decided to go public with the July 2016 exoneration after Attorney General Loretta Lynch met on that Arizona tarmac with Bill Clinton the previous month, June 2016, because she was now conflicted. But this new information suggests that decision was actually being made months before July or June. Guys?
All right, very good. Ed, I have a quick question. Was there also a statement of condemnation that the former FBI director wrote?
No, there was no statement of condemnation. I think there are people in the Trump White House wondering whether or not they're going to get an exoneration letter sometime soon. Don't expect that to happen.
All right. And could the former FBI director be in deep yogurt with special counsel Robert Mueller?
You know, I think you should ask Gutfeld. He could be in deep unicorn.
Thank you for that.
And we all know that's far worse, Ed Henry. Thank you so much. Lisa, I will go to you. How credible is this information that we have that former FBI Director James Comey had drafted this letter in the spring before he had talked to, as Ed pointed out, not only Hillary Clinton, but Brian Pagliano, Cheryl Mills, and Huma Abedin?
Well, it certainly looks like he contradicted himself, as we heard earlier in that September 28th hearing, when he talked about the timeline of his decision-making process, as well as the impact that Loretta Lynch meeting on the plane had. But look, I don't trust Jim Comey as far as I can throw him, which is not far because he's extraordinarily tall. But look, you can go through and look at things that he has said that aren't backed up by facts. I mean, he has repeatedly either given, either a blatant lie or misleading statements. He said that he leaked the memos in response to the May 12th tweet referencing possible tapes. But you go back to a New York Times article on May 11th, and it virtually mirrors the memo that he released allegedly 4 days later after that tweet. You can look, he testified that he didn't think his memos contained classified information. The Hill found that more than half did. He said that Trump's conversations made him nervous, but we found out that Loretta Lynch instructed him to use the word matter instead of investigation. Also, the meeting on the plane, he didn't write memos about her, so why not? He also took what he said that New York Times labeled was an extraordinary step of telling the House Intelligence Committee a while back that the Trump team was under investigation. Meanwhile, we know behind the scenes he was telling President Trump that he wasn't under investigation. So there are so many things that he has said that are contradictory and seemingly a blatant lie.
So, Jesse, how much of a miscarriage of justice is this if he had, in fact, made up his mind before the FBI had interviewed some of those key witnesses?
I think the FBI should change its motto to "I'm with her."
I saw Dinesh D'Souza tweeted out FBI I'm with her.
That's right. I mean, this thing's more rigged than a carnival game. If you add the exoneration letter to the tarmac meeting, to the Lynch interference, to pleading the fifth, to wiping the server clean, to smashing Blackberries with hammers. It is the most corrupt situation you could ever imagine. Now, when members of Congress want information about the investigation, they file a FOIA request. FBI says, we're not going to hand over any information about the investigation because it's not in the public interest. Who are they to determine that? I bet half the country wants to see this stuff. So they have a lot of work to regain any credibility.
And it makes you wonder, for whom are they covering? But one, Hillary Clinton lost the election. Therefore, she's already had punishment enough, right? You can just go ahead and break laws in this country, and it's fine if you don't get what you want. That's the same thing as going to jail.
Is that right? Well, I do think that there's a hanging court in session here. The Star Chamber is here, but I must say, what strikes me is we don't know. We just don't know what the entirety of this story. What I can say that is a little contrary.
Not what you say about Russia.
Well, no, or Benghazi. I thought you were going to bring up Benghazi.
I was getting to that.
I was hoping so. What we can say, though, is that there were 9 months of investigation before this point, and we know that Comey is, an inveterate note taker and writer, and oftentimes
but you
people
can't
prepare
take notes on interviews that you haven't conducted.
That's not
and
the
those
charge.
seem like they'd be really important notes.
No, that's not the charge.
In determining the conclusion and the finality of the case.
But what he said in the testimony we saw before the Congress was, if she, Hillary Clinton, or anybody else had lied, and they could prove it, then it was a case. But I think what he's saying, at least that what we can see, and again, we can't see the whole picture, is they had looked for evidence that, in fact, she had broken some law, and up to that point, they hadn't found any.
I'm hearing blah, blah, blah. Greg, can you please translate?
Here's the funny part. The people that should be really interested in this are the Democrats. Hillary Clinton was the worst nominee in the history of politics, even including that dead guy that ran, I think, in Tennessee. Do you remember that story?
I do.
I hope you don't mean Lamar Alexander.
The guy
He's
with the
still very
mullet.
much alive.
I don't know, but this was a terrible candidate. And if this news had become evident earlier, they could have jettisoned her and had a better candidate and possibly won the election. Sanders, who was a change candidate, could have very well have beaten Trump, but instead they rigged it. Yeah. So she got it. So there are two riggings going on. My thing is it's like we are continually replaying this election. It's now 7 months. The Dems got to let go of Russia. The Republicans will then let go of Hillary's crimes. It's like the end of a
it's like the end of what it's about.
It's like the end of a relationship. Stop going to her Facebook page. Stop listening to his voicemails.
So hard,
move on.
We can't help it.
Because the public has already accepted the election. Everything's going on.
But it's about Russia.
She cannot stop sniffing Donald Trump's T-shirt.
Yeah. Thank God you said T-shirt.
Well, got to keep it clean. It's a family show. When we come back, President Trump reportedly seriously considering reversing one of President Obama's most important immigration initiatives. What is it and how important is it to the nation? Stay with us to find out.